In S.T.A.L.K.E.R, the board game, players play in an alternate version of the Chernobyl exclusion zone. Players take on the role of trespassers and adventurers named stalkers in this world of anomalies and mutation. Each player will be a stalker which will have a special ability. Each session you will take on a new mission. On the board there will be cards and things to discover that are specific to that mission. But it's not that easy as there's always enemies lurking around. But don't worry, the different groups hate each other just as much as they hate you. During the player's turn, the player will take actions and they may activate in any order they wish. Each player may do an infinite amount of free actions, 2 short actions, and 1 long action. Each action, whether it be on a weapon, on gear, or on the board, will tell you the kind of action it is, either free, short, or long. Before or after your action, you may move shown by this arrow here. There are also full actions you can take to move which will be on your character card. But be careful because moving creates noise and you are trying to not be seen. Whenever you move, you will place orange noise markers in the space that you finish in. You will place 1 for every space that you moved. So if you moved 3 spaces, you will place 3 noise marker in your final zone. And as I'm sure you can guess, noise attracts baddies. There are also red noise markers which count as 2 noise. These you will have to place when you make a lot of noise like shooting a gun or tossing a grenade. Each enemy has awareness in 3 directions, in front of them and to the sides. Each enemy has a range and they can see up to their range. If you move across their line of sight and they have spotted you, you will have to add an extra red noise token to the area you end in. And if you end your movement in their line of sight, they will attack you. Let's look at an example. This bandit here is facing this way and their range is 3. That means they can see all of these spaces. They cannot see here because these yellow lines are walls which block their sight, but they can see through these here because these eye spaces are doors or windows which they can see through. So if you cross their line of sight, you will gain an extra noise. If you end your movement in their line of sight, they will overwatch and attack you. When you are attacked, you will roll the amount of blue dice shown on your armor to try and block the attack. The attack damage is here and you will need to roll that many successes to not get wounded. If you don't succeed, you will take a wound which usually have ongoing negative effects. When you decide to take the offensive and attack them, you will shoot at them to try to take them out. When shooting, you will often get to choose a specific body part to shoot at like the head or the torso. But if you miss what you're shooting at, you don't then get to switch. So if I'm going for a headshot and miss, I don't get to hit the torso instead. But remember that shooting is very loud, so you generally don't want to be rolling around guns ablazing. There also may be anomalies on the board. These can be risky, but they are the main ways to get powerful artifacts. Visit them at your own peril. On top of the normal physical dangers, there are also lots of radiation damage that you may get. We are in Chernobyl after all. Radiation is tracked on your Geiger counter, and the more you get, the more radiation wounds you get, which are much worse than a mere broken bone. In each mission, the players are trying to complete objectives, many of which will be based around searching the cards on the board. These will further the story and can do a number of different things. Once players have finished activating, the enemies will go. When an enemy activates, you will first check to see if they have line of sight on a stalker or a different kind of enemy. Bandits won't shoot other bandits, but they will absolutely attack a snork. If there are no enemies in their line of sight, they will go towards any noise that they can hear. The amount of noise in a space is its range, so this space has 5 noise, so anything within range 5 can hear it. If an enemy can hear multiple things, they will go towards the loudest. If after they move towards the noise, they have line of sight on something, they will attack. If the enemy can't see anyone and can't hear anything to go and investigate, they will just patrol and move 1 space, and then you'll roll the direction die and face them in that direction. And then again, if they had line of sight, they would attack. Once the enemies all activate, the end of the round will happen. If there's any noise in range of these unknown tokens, you will flip them and they will often spawn new enemies. Then you will turn the page of the mission book. You will do this after every round, and many times this will insert new rules or events that happen. The players win if they complete the mission and they lose if any stalker dies. And that's a brief look at S.T.A.L.K.E.R, the board game.